Marriage is no longer broadly recognised by the government. The term marital status doesn't appear on forms anymore, and most government-sponsored research has removed the distinction. And these briefs are only about couple-parent families, they're not about married families. So that's one side. And then in addition, as a result of eradicating the married couples allowance, the UK is rare among European countries not to provide a recognition within the tax system for families. The vast majority of other European countries, you'll recognise the caring role taken by a partner or by a spouse in a family while the other spouse goes out and works, and allows the household, in fact, as a whole, to sort of be considered and taxed more as a household. Whereas in France, it's pretty well household taxation. In other countries, you've got transfer of allowances, and the UK is, with Finland and one or two others, without anything in particular. So it's a really, we are in an extreme situation here in terms of not recognising marriage in the tax system.
I think it's saying, but couples penalty. The very fact that I'm being forced to talk about a couples penalty shows you how brilliantly the debate has been framed in that way. First thing to say is that here we've moved away from marriage quite decisively, because as Stephen admits, this has nothing to do with marriage. This is to do with being a single person or being a couple, whether you're married or not. So we've completely changed the debate here and now just said it's good to have two parents. It's even better if they're married, but here we're just talking about two parents. The point is, as Stephen admits, there's an equivalising scale within the benefit system which allows for the fact that it's cheaper to live as two than it is to live as one. Whether or not the scale properly equivalises is a contested debate within the welfare literature. So there is some evidence that you presented that in some ways might, but there's evidence from other people, and you can look at particularly people who would say this wouldn't know, like gingerbread and so on. It will actually say if you use a different equivalised scale, the one, for example, that we use when we calculate our poverty measure, if anything, there's a single person's penalty in the benefit system. The honest answer is we don't really know. And in a sense, it doesn't really matter, because the big problem, quote-unquote problem, is that it is always going to be better for you financially to pretend to be single when in fact you're a couple.
Is that for 30 years I've tried to bang into the heads of students in sociology is the importance of norms and normative regulation, that how societies hold together is not a result of repression from above by and large, it's a result of self-regulation through recognition of shared norms. And a lot of the norms that govern our behaviour are enforced through informal means, through ostracism and gossip and so on. But the most important ones are enforced through formalised, institutionalised regulation and law. Law is simply the state underpinning the most important norms. If, as I believe it is, the norm of committed parenting is important enough in terms of the socialisation of the next generation to be worth strongly enforcing, then this is a norm that the government ought to be underpinning through these strong signals, through the tax system and in other.
There's no more fruitless debate to be had in British politics at the moment than where to spend another 3 or 4 or 5 billion pounds a year. And let's not perhaps labour this too much, but let's just remind ourselves that the country isn't just teetering on the brink of financial ruin and loss of credibility and all the rest of it. We're probably over that brink. We're probably like the roadrunner, run off the cliff, now falling down. The only reason that it hasn't been called in is because there's an election. But after that election, my God, the Tories are going to have to put up and show how they are going to have to cut spending. So it is in a way quite funny that the Conservatives have find themselves saddled with this policy to spend 3 or 4 or 5 billion pounds just at the moment that they've decided that they have to get a grip of the finances, and we can perhaps come back to that. But it is just the wrong time to be talking about this, it seems to me.